as a veteran, small business owner, what can we do for you?
What we can all do for all veteran business owners is promote each other.
My main mission was to look at tools and technology to leverage small business and give them more of a competitive advantage.
My mission for Veteran Bargains is very simple: to help vets.
That story in itself, to run for Vista City Council, is a journey.
I think this is an opportunity to really collaborate with those gone before us.
It's really kind of a labor of love.
And now your host.
And welcome back for Season 3, Episode 1 of the National Veterans Radio Network. My name is Shelley Harrison. I'm your host. And on our Veterans Radio show, we talk with heroes in action, making a difference for our veteran community. And just take a look at any successful business organization or institution, and you'll find a veteran or military spouse in a leadership role of that success. And we hope that you're having a wonderful day today and enjoying, whatever city or state or country that you're in. But we're here in California, or I'm here in California. We have two guests today that I can't wait to share with you. We want to welcome all of our live audience on Facebook, YouTube, Amazon Live, and of course, our podcast listeners. We appreciate all of your support. We would love for you to subscribe. Hit that bell to get notified when all of our shows come on. We're on every Friday, or excuse me, 2 Fridays a month now. We've gone back to a different program. But anyway, this is the Veterans Radio Show. And without you, we would not have the support and listenership. So thank you for being here. And I want to bring on our first guest here in just a moment. His name is Ben Baker, and he is from Canada. So he's coming to us live today from Canada. Ben is a 2-time author, podcaster, keynote presenter, and someone who is passionate about helping you differentiate yourself in a crowded marketplace. His books, he has 2 of them: Powerful Personal Brands, a hands-on guide to understanding yours. And he co-authored Leading Beyond a Crisis, a conversation about what's next. Ben is a volunteer, whether it be for his congregation, festivals in the area of Canada, or through mentoring youth at the university level. He believes that he may not be able to change the world, but he can influence his corner of it. So please help me welcome Ben Baker.
Shelley, thanks for having me
Hello,
on the
Ben.
show.
How are you?
I am doing grand. Thank you
Wonderful.
for having me on here.
Well, thank you for being here. And I know this is definitely not your first rodeo. You do this in your world as far as podcasting and doing live shows. So we're so happy to have you here. And thank you so much for all your support that you also do for our veterans. We definitely appreciate that.
Well, it's my honor. I mean, I've got more friends than I care to imagine that are either active military veterans or parents of veterans.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me the amazing sacrifices, the wonderful things that they do, and and the things that they become.
Absolutely.
So it's wonderful to be supporting the network.
And we appreciate that. And I have to give you a shout out. I get your newsletter and I read it and I really enjoy the content.
Thank you.
Great job on that newsletter. And, Ben, to start us off, tell us about yourself and what excites you about storytelling.
Yeah, I've been a storyteller for as long as I can imagine. I've been in the communications game for 25 years.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about getting people to have that aha moment. And it's letting them be part of the story. It's letting them understand, how is this story relevant to them? How does it change their lives? How does it give them new information? How does it motivate them to go on and do bigger and better things? And that's the beautiful thing about a story, is it's not about you as a storyteller. It's about how you make people feel. It's how do you engage people? How do you bring them along for the journey? How do you get them to understand that, wait a second here, I can do this too, or I just learned something new, or I can help other people do whatever. And that's the beautiful thing about a story, is that it brings people together and creates a shared commonality.
Yeah. And it's kind of an emotional experience, because you connect on a different level. And, this is what you do in your business. So tell us about yourself in terms of how storytelling is part of what you do.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of what we do is either internal communication or
Mhm.
podcasting.
Mhm.
We create end-to-end, done with you podcasts for large to enterprise level companies for internal use. We do external podcasts for companies, but a lot of what we do is internal podcasts for companies that are 500, 1,000, 10,000, 50,000, to enable people to have a better understanding and be able to communicate more effectively. It helps with DEI, change management, culture, purpose,
Yeah.
new product development. There's all sorts of things that a podcast can do. The other thing that we do is we do a lot of consulting to help companies communicate more effectively, the small and medium sized businesses, to help them understand why they do what they do and help bring their, everybody aligned and be able to marching in the same direction.
Yes, and, I know that you're in Canada, but you probably work globally. Would
I
Is that a
do.
fair statement? Okay.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
originally born in Minneapolis, so I am a US
Minnesota.
citizen. I'm a Minnesotan, so
Yeah,
no
and
no stranger to
Minnesota
cold.
Viking,
There we
fans
go.
here.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great, and in Canada, I know we were talking a little bit in the green room, and you said that there's snow, kinda slushy snow there in Vancouver today, right?
Yeah, and we're not used to it. I mean, we got
Mm.
6 or 8 inches of snow the other day, and the city basically shuts down. We're just not used to that
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
snow up here, so
Oh, that's almost like California where we don't know how to drive in the rain.
yes, that's
Yeah, at
absolutely
least that's
true.
what they say. How did your experience help you launch your business?
I think, the business got launched because I saw the need of for people to understand their brand and tell the story of their brand more effectively. I started off
Mm.
25 years ago in direct mail,
Oh,
and direct
gosh.
mail was all about how do you get the envelope opened and how do you
Mhm.
get people once they've opened the envelope to be able to be motivated to do whatever you want to do. And I worked a lot with casinos and I worked a lot with the grocery industry.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
for them, it was not about buy this cheap. It was how do you align people with the brand? Because
Yeah.
somebody can always be cheaper than you are. Somebody can always give another discount. Somebody can always give something, and that aligns them with your brand for 30 seconds.
Mhm.
You know, but if you align them with your story, if you align them with your brand, with you align people with your mission and values, then you build a customer for life.
Yeah,
And
and that loyalty.
exactly. It's
Yeah,
all about loyalty, and not only that, they tend to tell your story for you. So
that's true.
when when
Yeah.
you can get people to tell your story for you, then that's how real marketing and real advertising and real brands are built. And that's how
Mm.
we evolved, is to sit there and say, okay, here's the problem. These are the challenges. This is my skill set. Now how do we figure out how to do this in a way that's going to be effective for clients?
Yes, wow. Well, that sure is. I mean, that's awesome that you do the work that you do, because storytelling is one of my favorite things when, when it comes to marketing, especially for a business, and trying to, when you have other people that share your story like you were pointing out, that's priceless when you
Mhm.
have that happening. Yeah. And what solutions would you say that you provide for your clients?
Well, as I said, the biggest solution that we do is we help them with a podcast, and whether that be an externally facing podcast, whether
Mhm.
it's a series of podcast episodes. A lot of people don't really need their own podcast. Let's be face it about it. There's 2.5 million podcasts out there.
There's a
Not
lot of them. Yeah.
90% of them fail in 10 episodes or less.
Hmm.
And the reason is because people don't understand the strategy. They don't understand why they're doing it or how they do it. A lot of
Yeah.
companies just need 12 or 15 different episodes that tell their story, that give them the ability to have the content to
Hmm.
be able to repurpose it and tell it over and over again. You
Yeah.
don't need to be there week in and week out every single week. We help the consulting process. How do you currently communicate with your customers? What are
Mhm.
the things you want them to know? How do you help them be more effective? How do you provide value? And then
Yeah.
we work with you to sit there and say, okay, is this social media? Is this a podcast? Is this a series of articles and blog posts? Is it webinars? We'll work with them to be able to sit there and say, what makes sense for you and your clientele?
Yeah, it's
How do
really a
people resonate?
strategy. Yeah, and it's a
Absolutely.
strategy, and you have to kind of customize it, I would imagine, for each business, because each business is different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that oh.
absolutely.
Well, that's great. And what challenges do you face in your business and that you've conquered, and how can your experience help others?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned over the last 18 months in COVID is that in February 2020, I was set to speak around the world. I had keynotes addresses. I had 2 or 3 weeks in Australia, 3
Mm,
weeks in Europe, the Caribbean, throughout the United States. I had, a
wow.
year's worth of keynote addresses all lined up. In 3 days in March of 2020, it was all
Mhm.
gone. It
That's
was wiped out. An entire
yeah.
year's worth of work and the next
Mm,
year's worth of work gone in a matter of 72
gosh.
hours.
Wow.
And what that taught me is that, what it's not, what we do, it's how we do it and how do we adapt. And the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I teach people is it's that understanding is what are your skills? It's not what you make or what you do. It's what are the skills that you have? How do you add value to people? How do you help
Mhm.
them understand why you're valuable to them and align them with your values and you with their
Yeah.
values? And
And
that's how
mm,
I can help people is by sitting there going, you know what? We all need to be resilient. We all need to be able creative and we all need to be able to adapt. And
yeah.
that's what I help people do.
Yeah, and, when I look back at February of 2020 and, kind of going into March, that's when everything kind of came to a screeching halt.
Mhm.
And how did you pivot knowing that you had all those keynote, especially traveling, when that
Oh,
came to a screeching halt, how did you pivot?
well, let's put it this way. I haven't been on a plane since I left Vegas at the end of February 2020.
Mm,
So I haven't seen a client. I haven't done anything. I mean, the good news is I was in a digital world for the last 13 or 14 years.
that does
If
help.
if you if you looked if
Yeah.
you looked at where I am right now, it's a cockpit. I'm running two 24-inch monitors. I have a full mic system, professional lighting setup, professional backdrop.
Mhm.
I was able to go online almost overnight. The
Yeah.
trick is that for the first 4 months, everybody was panicked. Everybody was absolutely panicked and didn't know what to do. So what I
Yeah.
did is I did a series of podcast episodes, both
Mhm.
video and audio, for free every single week on here's some tips and tricks of how you can help people within your business, and
Yeah.
sent them out to people. No
Mm.
expectations, no nothing. Just say, look, I know you got your heads down. I know you guys are panicking. I know you don't know what end is up. Here's some valuable information.
Yeah.
When you're ready to contact me, call me.
And
And
speaking of that, you actually have a special offer. I mean, maybe we can have you mention it, and then I know that we're going to have it in the show notes afterwards. Can
yeah,
you give that information and just share a little bit about it?
yeah. I mean, here's the perfect thing is I've got free chapters of both my books and 4 different ebooks that are available. And they're available at yourbrandmarketing.com/ebooks. So if
Okay.
you go to yourbrandmarketing.com/ebooks, there's free chapters of both of my books there. And I've got 4 different ebooks on branding, on podcasting, and internal communications. That there's no paywall, there's no nothing. Just grab them. My attitude is
Oh.
give away information, let people have it, and
Mhm.
when people are ready, they'll come and find me.
They will. They will.
Mhm.
And now the videos that you did last year or 2020, can people still go to those videos on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'll make sure that I get you a link so we can
Okay.
show it after the
Yeah, I
day.
think that would be
It's
great for our
you know
audience.
with one of
Yeah.
those long strings of things is being able to find that I'll get those for you, and you can send them all out to everybody who wants it.
Oh, very good. Well, we appreciate that, and I'm gonna kinda turn in a little, different direction. We have a couple of minutes here left before we
Sure.
bring on our next guest. As a child, what did you wanna be when you got older, and why?
That's interesting because
Yeah.
there's so many different things as I did as a kid.
Mhm.
But the biggest thing that I did as a kid, I was in the professional theater business as not
Oh.
as an actor,
Mm.
but as a technician.
Behind
And
the
I
scenes.
I was
Yeah.
behind the scenes, and that probably set me up well for what I do in terms of consulting, in terms of working with companies, because I like being the guy that's behind the scenes,
Mm.
helping to make things work, helping to build things,
Yeah.
but let other people have the limelight. And I think that that's probably the one thing that got me doing is sit there and say, let me help set the stage. Let me help build the fantasy, and then let me help you
Mm.
shine. And I think
Oh,
that that was probably the thing that put me into where I am today. And that's
yeah.
one of those things I don't really think about that much, but
Mhm.
probably that's the thing that's come to mind right now.
You have a very giving heart, don't you?
I do what I
You
can.
do.
I do what
Yeah,
I can.
yeah. Well, how can our chamber help you, Ben?
You know what? We're looking for customers and for people that are looking to communicate more effectively within their organizations that need to have their stories told. I am more than happy to give people 30 minutes to understand what are you trying to do, what are your objectives, and see whether it's worth us working together. And if
Yeah.
people go to yourbrandmarketing.com, the bottom left-hand
That was
corner
my
that
next
you
question.
can book a 30-minute call with me, have a conversation, and we can talk about, are there ways that we can help support you and your organization and be able to help make you better?
Wow. Well, you definitely tell a great story, and I'm sure that, people that are tuning in and who will be watching the replay, I think you gave such great information today, Ben, and you have a lot of freebies that people can take away too. What is next for you?
What's next for me is, I'm hoping by the end of 2022 to get back on stage.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. I'm looking for larger organizations that are looking for, that next keynote, that dynamic person who can help them tell their story and bring their audience, into their lives and motivate people. My thing is
Yeah.
I like to teach lessons. When I'm on
Mhm.
stage, I like to teach lessons. It's not about that rah-rah for the 30 seconds and then forgotten. I
Yeah.
want to give people tangible things
Yeah,
that they can
content
take
and
with
things that
them
they
and be
can
able to move
sure.
forward.
And that makes for a good speaker, believe me. I'm in the business, so I understand. Yeah. Well, we absolutely appreciate you being on the show, Ben. We want to invite you to, to stay in the green room. We're going to be bringing Andrew on here in just a moment. But what I want to just let everybody know, you're watching the Veterans Radio Show and Podcast Network. And my name is Shelly Harrison. I'm your host. And we're going to be bringing on Andrew, who is our sponsor with Wealth Stack. And you'll meet him in just a moment. But we want you to subscribe. We want you to be able to hit that the bell and get notified when our shows come on. We're on Fridays typically, and we have behind the scenes, I should say. We have Jimmy, who is our producer. We have our co-host. We have two co-hosts, Laura Torres and also Dolly Rivera, who also helps us with our social media. And then we want to also give a shout out to our executive director, national executive director, Mr. Joseph Molina. So thank you again for joining us. Well, I'm going to bring on our next guest, who is a professional in action. And this is a segment where we have it sponsored. And I had the pleasure of meeting Andrew a few weeks ago and had a very, just an insightful conversation. So I'm excited for you to meet him because he's going to really give you some information that is going to really help you in your financial with your financial planning, I guess I could say. So I want to give a little bit of information about Andrew before he comes on. He is a U.S. Army veteran. He spent 5 years in the Army at West Point, and he was also at a couple of different locations. And he's going to share that with you in just a few moments here. He is the founder and CEO at WealthStack. And WealthStack is an SEC registered digital investment and video first financial education platform, which is focused on helping veterans create wealth. WealthStack was founded by West Point and U.S. Marine Corps veterans who also attended Columbia Business School. Andrew, as I mentioned, is a U.S. Army veteran, Jamaican immigrant with years of experience on Wall Street. His network and mentors have been pivotal to his success. He is passionate about meeting others where they are to increase financial literacy. Andrew has a deep understanding of the wealth gap and firmly believes financial health is attainable for anyone with the right tools. It's a misconception that everyone that is wealthy was born into it. Little tongue twister. So sorry about that. But at any rate, I'd like to invite Andrew And he is actually going to be coming on in just a moment here. So Andrew, come on in. Hello.
Hi,
How are you, Andrew?
I'm good. Thrilled
Thank
to be here
you.
today.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. And we appreciate your sponsorship too. And we're going to get right into it. You know, we number one, we salute you and we want to honor you for your service. And we definitely appreciate it and your family. And I'd love for you to share a little, a little bit about your military experience.
Sure. As you said in the intro, born in Jamaica, grew up here in New York, and then went to West Point. Then served for 5 years in the Army at Fort Hood, Texas, 1st
Mm.
Cav. I spent 1 year deployed, '04 to '05 in Baghdad,
Mm.
doing. I was a fire support officer for the division, so work with the aviation assets of 1st Cav and coordinate between them and the artillery to engage with the enemy.
Wow. You've had an extraordinary military experience. And again, we salute you and honor you. Yeah.
Uh, part of-
All right. Well, we're going to get into about your business. So, you are as far as the Wealth Stack company, you are founder and CEO. And tell us what inspired you to start this company.
Sure. Well, I've always had a strong passion for investing, even as a small child. My older brother went to Princeton, and he taught me about investing when he'd kind of come back home, and I just had a deep love of it, and I always had a passion for helping others. And so
Yeah.
I was investing even in the stock market game in high school.
Oh my gosh. High
We-
school.
Yeah, I came in sixth in the state of New York, across all
Wow.
of it, buying stocks like Motorola, in the Hilfiger and the like. And
My
so I always had a
gosh.
deep passion for it, studied it. And what I saw was that once I graduated from West Point, I was in the Army. I was often just talking to my soldiers and other soldiers in the battery or kind of anywhere within the unit, and helping them figure out their finances.
Yeah.
And it was often the same questions over and over again. And so that certainly kind of was the germ of the idea. And then as I proceeded from the Army to go to Columbia Business School, to go to Merrill Lynch, who gave me a full scholarship.
Wow.
Columbia
That's
Business School
fantastic. Yeah.
was fantastic. And
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to Merrill for the opportunity, and gave me the chance to also work as an investment banker.
Mhm.
My first deal was advising a private equity firm on the purchase of Godiva as part of a divestiture from Campbell Soup.
Oh,
So working with companies and management to get an understanding of businesses and to facilitate transactions is kind of where we got started. Then left Merrill, started my own hedge fund, grew that to about $40 million in assets,
gosh.
which was, I'd say, especially challenging given that I started in '09, and
Mm,
especially challenging given the lack of background, right? Before business school, I was in Baghdad. And so
gosh.
now we're managing and raising capital,
Yeah.
and generating good returns. And then went to a large family office, a $500 million family office, where I was one of two investment professionals focused on I really focused on the media and technology space in the public equities. And then went to Standard General, which is a $4 billion hedge fund,
Mm,
stress investor, whereas one of four investment professionals focused on, again, media and gaming assets as well. And so learned a lot about strategy, about investment, about wealth creation. But bring it full circle back to where I was helping young soldiers.
yeah.
I said there's just a lot of lessons here that people don't know, but if they knew, there's a lot of things they could do to advance themselves financially. And I want to build a platform that facilitates that. And I
Yeah.
think that having at Columbia, I got the chance to do the value investing program, and you actually sit down with Buffett. You go to Omaha and you spend
Oh,
3 days there, and you're learning from Buffett. Buffett went to
my
Columbia.
gosh.
Buffett taught at Columbia. This is like back in the '50s, and
Mm,
so he's always had a very special connection with it. And Columbia created the value investing program, which is an elite, an intensive 1 year series of classes all around investing, based on Buffett
gosh.
and Graham and Dodd and all of it.
Yeah.
And
And it's still available today?
it is. They
It
take
is.
about
Yeah.
out of the class of 800, they take about 35 students. are selected for value investing each year, and you go through an intensive year-long rigorous learning profile. But while there, I got the chance to really learn about investing, and have been able to codify a lot of that using videos, using blogs, and all of it, and bring it to the common man.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, no, go ahead. Keep going. That's fine.
When I first got to America, from Jamaica, there were 12 of us in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Bed-Stuy.
Oh my goodness.
My aunt, who had her own 3 daughters and husband, took my family in, and we were all together for the first year. And those are some of the happiest memories of my life.
Of course.
It goes to show you can start at the very base and create significant wealth if you know. But so many people from my community in Bed-Stuy don't know. They don't know. They just don't know. And so, what we realize is that issue is not just in Bed-Stuy. There's a lot of diverse communities, veterans, African American, Hispanic, Asian, all the exact same issues. And so
I think it's universal, but financial literacy and understanding, the stock market, I think not your average person would really understand a lot of that, on the stock and the other, hedge funds and things like that.
And so that's exactly why we built the platform. And importantly, it instructs in 2 to 4 minute videos. We did extensive surveys, and what we learned were that people preferred video versus reading, and that no matter what your culture or what your skin color, everyone had the same questions. Everyone had the same kind of desire to speak to someone and communicate with someone that could explain things to them. And so
that's a great resource.
And so that's why we built this.
No, that's great. And when you think about what differentiates WealthStack from your competition, what would you say about that, Andrew?
I'd say that we're an education content company first and foremost that offers financial services. And so I'd say that's the single biggest differentiator. There are financial service companies, some of whom do a bit of education, but we're an education company that does financial services together. And so that allows us to bring information, perspective to our audience in a language that they understand, again, being delivered by people that look like and feel like them and engage with them. And so that really has given us a really unique offering, and it's one that's just resonating very strongly. The people using the platform love it.
Yeah. And I know we're going to go to a clip here in just a moment. How do people reach out to find those resources from you, from WealthStack?
Sure. So I'd say certainly starting with www.wealthstack.us is a good one that makes sense. Importantly, as we built our platform, what we've seen is we're engaging directly with the veteran business owner. Most of our clients are veterans that are now CEOs and owners of businesses that they started with 2 to 75 million a year in revenue. So successful entrepreneurs. And so what we're looking for is partnership with more of those business owners to help really bring access to all the resources Wall Street provides, and bringing it down to that competent, successful business owner who just doesn't have those direct connections to the private equity funds and the lenders who are, to be honest, anxious to lend to them. They want to, they just don't know them.
No, that's a great resource. Great resource. And I know we want to go to that. I think it's about a minute clip. So we're going to show, I know the clip is coming here in just a moment. So hold on. And then we're going to come right back after the video, and then we'll close out the show.
The best weapon is a well-trained mind. If you're currently in the military, are a military spouse, or are a retired veteran, you probably still carry around at least part of this mentality. And there are real benefits of being educated while in the military too. Compensation for a military officer with a bachelor's degree is 88% more on average than for civilians with a comparable degree. Don't have a degree because you think you can't afford higher education? There are numerous options, not only for you, but for your spouse as well. The Department of Defense offers college assistance to soldiers up to $4,500 a year, but that's not all the help you can get. Let's start with the Post 9/11 GI Bill. This one provides more educational benefits to service members and veterans who have 90 or more days of active duty on or after September 11, 2001. Under the Post 9/11 GI Bill, you can receive up to $1,000 per year for books and a living allowance, on top of the ability to transfer unused education benefits to spouses and children. How much of your higher education is covered, though? It depends on your length of service. If you served 36 months or longer, for example, it'll cover 100% of the expenses. They'll cover the full cost of public in-state tuition and fees, but cap the rates for private and foreign schools. The cap for those schools is currently about $26,000 per academic year. Also remember that active duty service members can take advantage of up to $18,000 in tuition assistance paid over 4 years. If you're currently an active military member or a veteran looking to start your higher education journey, it's also worth looking into schools that offer a yellow ribbon program. If the school participates, you could receive additional funds that aren't charged to your GI Bill entitlement. As a supplement, it's also worth looking into applying for the Pell Grant for additional funds. If you're not sharing your GI Bill benefits and entitlement with your spouse, they might be eligible for MyCAA, which stands for My Career Advanced Accounts. Through MyCAA, you can receive $4,000 for an associate's degree, vocational training, or professional licensing as long as you're the spouse of a service member in the ranks E1 to E5, W1, W2, or O1, O2. If you need additional funding, turn to a military spouse club, as they often offer scholarships for spouses and dependents as well. Lastly, it's important to understand you have other options outside of military assistance programs, including federal financial aid and college-specific scholarships. Regardless of the path that you choose, we applaud you for investing in yourself through higher education. On your academic journey, we suggest learning how to manage your finances and grow your wealth. WealthStack is here to help you with that. Our financial lessons are led not only by an investment pro, but one who is also a veteran. Let us help you learn how to invest in yourself. Join WealthStack today.
And there you have it, folks. We just showed that video and we hope that was helpful. Andrew, we want to thank you for being on the show. We're coming to the end of our show now. We had Andrew Glaze today, and he is the founder and CEO at WealthStack and also our sponsor for today. So we appreciate that, Andrew, and thank you so much for sharing. You're doing a terrific job, and we want to stay in contact with you. We also want to thank our other guest that was here today, and Ben Baker, and he was from Canada. We had Canada and New York represented today. How about that? So again, thank you, Andrew, for being on the show. Ben, we appreciate you both being here. And thank you to our audience for tuning in today or watching the replay. Remember to subscribe and see how we can help you as a chamber. We'll see you next time.